What's up guys, welcome back to another video, hope you're doing well today. I'm very excited today to bring you this track which is created by a good friend of mine, Mr. Aiden SX on YouTube. He was doing videos before I did, to be fair, he just stopped after a while, but he is a previous Supercross champion in this game, and he is releasing his first track, I believe at the same time this video goes live. The track is a Supercross track. I've had a little bit of experience on it before, testing it out with a few of the boys, and I have to say, it's probably one of the best free Supercross tracks you will get in this game. It's got so many different line selections through the various rhythms. It's upscaled a little bit from your usual aerial tracks, but it just means big lines, fast speeds, and it's very, very exciting stuff. So let's get into it and see how it goes. For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe. Now, if you are part of the notification gang and you've clicked on this video as soon as it's gone live, then if you head over to MXB Mods right now and press the refresh button, the track should be there for you, as he did ask me at what time of the day this video was going up, and he said he'd try and sync it. I believe it might be early morning for the US guys, to be fair, or like 8, 9, 10 a.m. ish, so it depends if he's awake or not. But yes, the track should be on MXB Mods today. It is not a paid track, so second not paid track that I've done in a while, and I've tested this track on both the factory bikes and the OEM bikes, and it works perfectly on both. You can do all the big lines on both. Now this section right here, get used to me hitting this section, because the normal line is to hit this, hit the little check up and double in, and then we go through the rest of the section. The fast way of doing it is hitting an absolutely massive tyre tap at the start, and then you can jump all the way onto that tabletop, jump all the way onto this tabletop, and then step off. It's a very, very big line. It's very, very difficult to do. I'm usually like a massive fan of tyre taps on this game, but the one on this section is so difficult. You have to be very, very precise. But it's nice to have a little challenge. So if you do get things absolutely perfect, there's some big old lines for you, or if you're on the more beginnerish / intermediate side, you can just hit the normal, I guess, designated lines. One thing that Aiden's done, so he's built a couple of practice tracks as he's gone. He's a newer track builder, but this is the first one he's releasing. He's done a few just kind of test tracks that he's scrapped and then started on new ones. One thing that he seems to always have focused on from track to track is making different viable line choices, because a lot of Supercross tracks these days, they tend to be quite one-lined. You know, there's one fast rhythm and that's it. But he goes to the extent of when he's doing his testing, he will literally get a stopwatch and set it to, can we get this tyre tap? No, we can't. Let's attempt number one crash. He'll set it to see how long each line takes and tweak the different lines accordingly. So if you do mess up a corner and you can't go and get a full triple in, don't worry about it, because a lot of time doubling isn't quite as bad. This room section right here, the main line is to go triple in, and then you step all the way over this table. You can't quad out. I've tried it a bunch of times. You can go triple single. Alternatively, you can go and step onto the table, and then you end up tripling into the corner, and you can hug the inside in the turn afterwards, and it ends up being literally bang on perfect in terms of speed. I've got no erode on in this video, however the track does erode quite nicely. I think we had it on 0.5 with 4 of us, and after about 10 to 15 laps, there was little ruts in there that were usable, but not to the point where it would throw your front end off. There is also a very, very big line in the rhythm section that I just went to before the finish. Instead of stepping onto the table and then stepping off, you can step over the table, jump over the finish line, and then have a whole different rhythm. The only downside is you do end up singling. Right, here's another attempt. Tyre tap! Oh, we've got it. I don't know if I've got enough speed though. Back wheel got hung up a little bit. Stretch it out! Oh, not quite. No. I hope you're all aware that I will be trying to do that every single lap. One thing that I didn't notice, I'm not sure if it's an asset on MXB Mods or if he just happened to find it online, the same place as other track creators in this game. This city that's around the outskirts, I've seen it before in a couple of tracks on this game actually. It gives a nice feel, you know, it stops you seeing the edges of the map, which I feel take away from quite a few tracks in this game. Makes it feel a little bit more immersive, which I'm a fan of. Gives, I don't know, it gives like a special event kind of feel. It makes it all feel a bit more man-made, like in the centre of a town. I didn't not get that right.
I'm still gonna send it.
I really want to show off all these big lines for you, so I'm going to try and hit them a couple of times. It all depends on the run you get on the exit of that corner. So there we go, we went quad over, double, and then you can triple this and single out. So there's big line number 1. And then I really, really want to get this next rim section correctly. So I'm actually going to set a marker. Let's set a marker here. Right, there we go. So we go on, off. I think you need to lean forwards and lean back really hard. Right, that's not it. We're going to do this a few times. Oh, that could be it. That could be it. The speed's better when we're in the right gear as well. All the way on. Lovely. And then all the way off again.
Nice.
Nice. So when you get it right, you're looking at a good second plus in terms of time gain in that section. Then through here, if you check up and step on here, step off, and then hit the triple in, then you can hug this inside rut, and it works out being pretty damn equal, if not a little bit faster than hitting the bigger line in the rhythm and having to go outside in the corner. So I really like how he's tried balancing this as best as he can. Some lines on this might be hit differently on factory compared to OEM. I know Aiden is a big fan of the OEM bikes, so he does most of his riding on them. So I think a lot of the testing he's done himself on this track is OEM specific, which is why he asked me to try it on the factory bike actually to see how it runs. And I've got no issues with it at all. So we can go double in here and then we can triple out, which then gives you more speed for this double. I like the going back and forth across another bit of track. I think that's very, very nice. I always like when tracks cross over on themselves. If you are one of the wheelie weirdos... Actually, can I get that from not hitting the tyre tap properly? Oh my god, you can! Okay, so you've not got to go as insane as I thought you did and stretch all the way. Okay, that's good to know. You haven't got to hit the most beefy tyre tap known to mankind. You can actually check up a little bit and still get it. But again, that's kind of the ongoing debate of can you do that on an OEM bike compared to factory? Because I know the factory ones do have more acceleration, and I believe the OEMs have more top speed. So it's definitely some testing needs to be done there. So if you are watching this after you've already played the track, let me know, how is that as easy to do on the OEMs, or do you have to hit the big old stretch jump? I feel like, have I even mentioned the name of the track yet? It's called the DDC Test Track. DDC standing for Daddy Daycare, which is Dad Shoes' Discord that we're all a part of. If no one understood what DDC stood for before, my god, you know what, tap it again. No. Oh. And I hate to expose him like this, but if we look over at the stands, you may see, obviously some people are repeated in this, you may see there's one person in particular that looks a little bit different from the rest. Maybe with a little bit less clothing. And if we go and zoom in on Mr. Boxhead over here, if you was ever curious what Dad's shoes look like underneath the clothing, then now you've got a good representation. Very, very sexy man. I wish I had a body like that. Fair play to him. Puts a lot of time and effort into it.
Why are you gay?
Make sure, by the way, that when you play this track, you have shaders turned on, because all of this work that he's done on the texturing, where you can see the imperfections and like the dozer tracks here on the takeoff, they are all to do with shaders. If you have shaders off, it will look quite Play-Doh-y and quite stock. So he spent a lot of time and effort trying to get all the shading and texturing right to make it look a little bit more realistic, a little bit more ridden on. And I know when we was testing it with Chicken and Dad Shoes in there, he asked people to stream it so he could see what it looked like, and they both had just like this Play-Doh texture on the ground, and he was so annoyed. He's like, I've spent hours and hours working on this, and you boys aren't even using it to like the best of its ability. This is outrageous. So yeah, do him a favour, turn shaders on. I don't know, the shaders, this is something I might need to experiment with. Do shaders affect like normal tracks that much in terms of like GPs? Because I watched Cam's hot lap video on Maggiora the other day before the qualifiers, and he had so many less shadows and just less stuff going on the ground than me. And at first I didn't know if it was a low res version of the track, if he had no shaders, if he'd done the weird like stuff where you go into your config and you can turn all shadows off to make the ground easier to see. And I like having the game look good for you guys and for the videos, but from a competitive standpoint, obviously a lot of shadows and a lot of extra texturing going on does make it a little bit more difficult, especially when things are coming at you really, really quickly when you're trying to go race pace. So to have those all turned off, it does give a little bit of a competitive advantage. Okay, so editing lens here. I was actually curious about this, so I thought I'd do a little bit of research, and it turns out that there is actually a massive difference. So first picture here is just normal track, what I ride with. There's some shadow overcast on the ruts, and you can see there's a little bit of a road in there as well. Second picture is the same track without the in-game shaders on, and you can see it's a little bit clearer, not as much definition in the ruts themselves. But the third picture, I removed shadows entirely from the game, and it's so much clearer. There's no like heavy contrast of the darkness of the rut to the lightness. It's just much easier to see. And I know a lot of top level guys actually use this setting, and it's not something that I've ever ran personally. But now I'm kind of tempted, because that seems like a little bit of a OP advantage that you might be gaining. I think of it in a similar way as on like Counter-Strike, for example. People turn their graphic settings right down, even if they've got really beefy computers, because not only for like the extra FPS anyway, but there is a competitive advantage to it. So anti-aliasing, for example, where it essentially creates pixels that don't exist to create smooth edges. When they turn those off, it's easier to, well, you see people sooner essentially as they peek around a corner. So little advantages like that you can gain from changing things in this game, whether it's turning roost off, taking off tear-offs. What else can we do? I think it is just roost, tear-offs, and then obviously turning shadows off as well. Shadows I've never done. Tear-offs and roost I have done, because I won't lie, they just really annoy me. Especially when you get into qualifying and you're on a steamer and you come up behind someone because they're maybe not quite as fast as you. You both go into the same rut, and even though there's no collisions in qualifying, so you can't hit them, just their bike being present in front of you and all the roost hitting your screen, making it hard to see. The amount of times I've had laps just thrown away like that, and it's so frustrating. I should probably turn them off again, actually, because whenever you verify your game files, it puts them back in, because it just reinstalls them. And I can't remember why I verified them before, but I had them off for ages, verified it, and I just haven't got around to changing it again. My biggest issue is, as soon as I get one speck of dirt on my screen, I have to pull a tear off straight away. Like, I hate it. I feel like I'm blind if I have one speck of dirt on there, but you only get about 22 or so tear-offs per race. And annoyingly, even if you're in the lead on this game, you get dirt on your goggles, even on a perfectly dry track, which makes zero sense to me. So yeah, even if you're in the lead and you're doing well, you can probably go through 2 or 3 tear-offs a lap just from pulling them straight away. So you can either be mindful about it, or you can just remove them in total. And so, some people see it as cheating. My view on it is, if it was that bad, or Voso was that upset by it, he'd make a way of locking the files so you can't edit them at all. I should probably make a tutorial video on it at some point, because the amount of people that ask me about it's crazy. It's not quite as simple as you'd expect, because you have to go a certain way about opening the files and then saving them again. But yeah, maybe it's someday, if I'm lacking inspiration or lacking a content idea. One thing it's quite nice right now. For some reason, we're getting a massive influx of tracks being released all at the same time. So we got this video for you today. It should be releasing on Sunday. And then on Monday, unless anything massive happens between now and then, I'm going to be covering Kels's new track. He's done a new track on Fox Raceway, which I've seen half a lap on, and it looks amazing. Go ahead and land a backflip here. I can feel it. I can feel it. Rotate, rotate, rotate. I'm very proud of Mr. Aiden for finally getting a track out for everyone. I know he spent a lot of time and effort on it. He's made like custom... I don't know if he's made custom objects as such, or if he's just expanded. But the finish line over there says CCF at the top of it, which is... Oh god, I'm going to butcher this. There's a Swiss... It's part of our like takeout series. It's like Cultured something Foundation, or the other way around, something Cultured. Does it say? Let's have a look. It is, it says up there, it's the Cultured Competition Federation Foundation, which is just basically like a meme group of, do you remember when I done that red and blue race, where it was like you get points based on position and you're on teams, etc. It's all part of that. They do those every now and then, a couple times a week, just to have a bit of fun. Annoyingly, that where they're all from the US, except for Chicken, who is obviously from Australia, it happens quite late at night, so a lot of the time I can't be really vocal and get like a really entertaining video out of it. We hit the tire tap one more time for the fans for the video. We can't, but we should be able to then just triple this. Perfect, and then step on. Oh, I don't know if that's doable. But yeah, as you see, multiple line choices. Very fun. I think it looks good. He hasn't had to worry about like putting trees and stuff everywhere. We've obviously got bows, and these bows do have collisions. They do slow you down a little bit when you try and go through them. Same with this Supercross netting as well. I'm pretty sure they have collisions if I remember correctly. Let's try it out. Yeah, so it does slow you down a bit. So cool, really good attention to detail. I like the kind of city feel. Feels like it's a event that's been specifically put on in the middle of town. We've got the little grandstands all over the place from side to side, and a very good job well done. I'm glad that he's finally got a track out. I'm sure there'll be more in the future. I don't think it's just going to be a one and done. And I would really like you guys, and I'm sure Aiden would like it as well, because I guarantee if he watches any video on my channel, it's going to be this one. Please do leave some good feedback for him. If there's anything you particularly like, if there's anything you don't like, please let him know. And I think that'll wrap things up for today. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment for the algorithm. Comment for the algorithm. I've been doing this for over 2 years now. You think I'd know how to talk at this point. Roll the outro.